honestly, if I was a man, I would only date single mothers or people or mothers, period. Because
I'm gonna stop you there.
Let me get the explanation to that.
Making me lose my mind, cause I just don't know. Something in your eyes, the way you stare me that I like.
And the next one is when he's paying all the bills.
I've been married 22 years now. My stepfather has no issue with digging in his pocket anytime my mother say, hey, Wendell, can I get this? He don't have a problem. However, that's because when my stepfather come home, he don't touch nothing. There's food at the table. It's warm. She treats him like a husband.
Just how I said,
but,
how it works together.
Exactly. Yep. But nowadays, women just think that, hell no. If you me, all I got to do is you. That's it. That's what a lot of women think. I'm cute. I got a pretty face. All I got to do is that's it. And I'm going to get that. But then you want to be treated like a wife. You can't have that. That's why I'm saying when you said,
from Baltimore?
I'm from D.C. From piggybacking off of what you said as far as paying the bills, that shit needs to solely be for the woman who helps provide and do all of that stuff for you too, because you confuse a lot of these girls out here thinking that all I got to do is fuck them. Because like you say, you fuck them and I get my bills paid.
Kind of confused by that whole clip.
Why?
Because it's like, I get what she kind of saying, like, oh, my grandmother did this and my grandfather paid the bills. But it's plenty of women out here who just get paid to do nothing but look good. So it's like, it's a mixed message to me.
I feel like a lot of modern women think that all they have to do is just show up. But that's definitely not the case. That's not wife characteristics. That's not, mother characteristics.
What about trophy wives?
Trophy wives.
Because if we're thinking about this, and this is just where my brain is going to, in 2022, with the way this economy is, typically people who can afford to provide this lifestyle, right? We're not talking about middle class people. I would say like wealthy people. They, you just have to you just got to look good for your man.
Nah, I think that is a misconception amongst modern women, personally, from my experience. I mean, sure, the more money you have, the more likely that you'll be able to attract a mate of a wife of exceptional beauty. That's pretty standard stuff. But at the same time, even if you're paying all the bills, typically, depending on who that woman is, she's going to be doing those roles. But I think what they're talking about in our community is where, in order to have like things like submission or traditional gender roles, the man has to be paying all the bills, or he won't be getting that. He won't be getting things like submission. He won't be getting cooperation. He won't be getting fitness. And that's where you have the conversations that people like Lapeef talk about, where that's when you all of a sudden start dating out of the race or ethnicity, and you're still getting these things without it being conditional. So I think it has to do more with that element. That's how I interpret it.
See, from my perspective, I think we might have a little bit of a different perspective on that, because typically when I see people dating outside the race, the people they're dating do not look like, what I'm saying? Like, they don't look like how these men on the manosphere be talking. Like, get you this type of girl. She gonna be submissive. Is she gonna be this? Is she gonna be that? And it's like, bro, you go wherever you are. So if black women are treating you like this, white men are gonna treat you the same way. Because you go where you are. You attract who you are. And I think that sometimes men think, oh, I could just try a different race and it's going to change. And it's like, no, because you're there. Like, women are not going to respect you, period, because of who you are and the type of energy you're giving. So I kind of can see what you're saying.
Well, I would say to a degree, because Kevin Samuels, rest in power once again, talked about this frequently. He talked about how men in, let's say, Central and South America, who would be considered impoverished in third world countries, they don't need to have a certain amount of income for submission and roles because it's ingrained within their culture. So that's what he was trying to, you know, have an impact on our culture specifically, because there's also, you know, as this channel is demonstrating, there's a lot of animosity between men and women instead of cooperation. And Kevin's point, and brilliantly so, was about cooperation and having an agreeable submission interaction with your significant other for the betterment of your family, your tribe, your kids, all of the above. So when it's too much about, you know, who's paying the bills, and, you know, it's a conditional submission based upon who's paying the bills, I feel like it sends a different message.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's just, listen, people who make money, some people, I'm not gonna say all people, but people who tend to make more money have more entitlement. Because in order to make more money, typically you have to put in the groundwork to do that, right? So you have to have this, I guess, masculine energy that's pushing you to make this money. So a lot of times when
you're saying if it's a female,
if it's a woman,
okay,
well, no, men and women, you gotta be masculine you have to tap into that masculine energy to get the bag.
Right, but that's only really relevant if it's a female in this space. Because if you're a masculine, you're just a dude. Some
dudes be mad feminine. I think
and that's also part of it. But I'm just saying, if you're just a dude, then you're just a dude.
Yeah, but not all dudes have that drive in them too. So it's like they still have to tap into their masculinity, just like some women who aren't as feminine have to tap into their feminine. I think that's how I could explain it better. But like, you have to have certain qualities to go get the bag. And so I feel like when women sometimes have these qualities, they don't prioritize the man's role in their life. And that's where you get the whole independent women thing. Like, I could make my own money. What do I need you for? And it's like, well, he doesn't just provide you with financial things. There's other things like protection. There's other things like perspective. There's other things like leadership. Like, so just because you secured the bag doesn't mean that you don't need a man. So I feel like that comes back to the submissiveness. And some women, if they feel entitled and they feel like, I don't need this man, why do I have to be submissive to him? Which, sis, is your fault, because you shouldn't be choosing a man that you want to overpower. Like, you should not be with a man that you want to control. Point blank, period. Like, if you want a traditional situation. Now, if you're a woman who just wants somebody to just do what you want to do, you want like a lap dog or something, that's on you. But don't say that you want a traditional situation and then you're controlling or trying to control your man, or holding money over his head, or trying to be the alpha in the situation and get mad at him when he doesn't make good decisions. Like, you chose to be with him, sis. That's what I'm going to say to that. And then what he was saying about, let me see. What was the title? When he's paying, is this true about paying all the bills? So if your man is paying all the bills, you got to pull your weight. Point blank, period. Whoever's paying all the bills, the other person got to pull their weight. But especially if your man is paying the bills, you have to pull your weight. Now, what does that look like? That's a discussion you need to have with your man. Okay, honey, you're paying all the bills. What is it that you need from me? How can I contribute to make sure that you can keep making this money to pay all the bills? How can I make your life easier so that you can go and provide for us? Because my role is no longer provision. My role is to support the person that's making the provision. So that's a conversation you need to have with your spouse, if that is the situation. Now, some men can say, oh, girl, you don't got to do nothing. Just go to the gym. Make sure you wear this size. Make sure your skin is good. Make sure you look good. Make sure you have manners. That's his criteria. Another man might be like, listen, when I come home, my food better be on the table because I don't have time to be thinking about dinner. It just depends on what your man wants. And he has a decision in that because he's the one bringing home the provisions. So it's an equal contribution. It's like he's doing the paying and you're doing the supporting. Now, when it's not equal, that's when people get taken advantage of. And that's when it's the problem. And that's when men be complaining or women complain, like, I'm making all this money and he don't do X, Y, and Z. Because you don't feel supported. You stressed out. And you know that it's somebody out there who's not going to stress you out. So Allegedly. Maybe not, because who knows?
It depends how old you are.
Who knows?
All right. The next one is also... Actually, no. Should you expect your ex to give you closure?
Let's listen to this one.
Conciliation is a two-way
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Closure is a one-way thing. I don't need anybody else to find closure.
It's reestablishing like that individual process of like, I'm done with this relationship. I need to go and really redefine what me as a single person is now going to look like. Like that's all really the closure.
Right.
I tell people the why don't matter because people I need to know why. They can lie, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, they can tell you what you want to hear. And at the
still
end
won't
of the
be
day,
enough.
it don't change.
It doesn't change. Yes.
And it really keeps you in limbo. Like, it's like, okay, you telling me this, so now should I change my thought process? Should I now take you back again? And there you are, especially somebody who has high anxiety. Like, you gonna be like, okay, was this the wrong decision?
He made it seem like he might want to still, you know, maybe I can
Leave that door a little open.
You looking for that little peephole.
It's go.
Okay, for me, I'm not really a person who needs closure. I'm very comfortable walking away, and it's going back to Josh's regularly scheduled program. So it's not really a big deal for me. But I do understand some people who may or may allegedly not be toxic needing closure, because closure is just cracking the door open for another go at it. Like, so the whole concept of, not getting back with your ex, that happens because of lack of closure. So you think it's a possibility, like the door is still open for that to happen. But for me, once it's over, it's over. And if any door is cracked, it's for short term. It's not for a relationship, because the relationship you already had is over. So the new one is something with different parameters. But from my experience, some ladies tend to think that means, oh, now it's open for a business once again, but that's not necessarily true.
Expect closure. Should you expect closure? You should expect anything from anybody. Number one, right? Expectations will set you up for failure sometimes. Don't expect anybody to give you closure. If you didn't expect them to give you the part of the relationship that they signed up for, like you expected that, they didn't get that to you. So why would you expect closure from them? Now, is closure good? Yes, I think closure is good, in my opinion. Like having a conversation and actually talking with the person, like, hey, assessing what happened, collecting data for when you move on. That's definitely important. Like, I mean, I would try to get closure, but I wouldn't expect it. I would probably be like, hey, like, let's sit down and have this conversation. A lot of times people think, I'm serious. Heck yeah, I'm having that conversation. I didn't dedicate X amount of time with you and we didn't have a conversation. Now, if you didn't give me that conversation, that's okay. But I gave you the opportunity to have a conversation. Man,
I would be like,
next.
It needs to be some type of dialogue. But that also depends on your growth as a person, right? Because a lot of people expect closure to be like, oh, I'm going to say sorry and the person's going to come back. There's going to be hope for us to get back together. That's always not the case. That's not the case. I mean, in my personal life, that was never the case. Like, no. Once you're done, you're done. But I do respect the closure. I respect a person who can sit down and have a conversation and say, like, listen, I apologize for this. And I acknowledge what I did wrong in this situation. And too bad it didn't work out. But good luck to you in the future. But people not elevated like that. And, people be mad because people are mad. People will not acknowledge what they did wrong. People will blame you. People will victimize themselves. People will blame the sky they'll blame it on their sign, their star sign. Like, But that's why I like what the girl said. Like, closure should be upon yourself. Like, you need to do that shadow work. You need to deep dive into what you did wrong because you follow yourself to the next relationship. So do I expect closure from another person? No. But would it be nice? Sure, because I need this information to self-evaluate. Now, if the person is real with you, even if somebody don't like you, like say they're gonna lie to you, some truth will be in there if you're willing to listen. Because people say how they really feel when they mad at you. They really do. It comes out. But you know, whatever. An ex is an ex. You learn from that situation. You move on. You wish them the best, and you just be happy you're not with them no more.
That was the PC version. My version is...
That's enough. Don't call us. We'll call you. Thank you.
Was that PC?
Definitely. You were uniting the United Nations there.
Oh, wait. Okay, let me get real. Let me take the cap off. Nah, it wasn't no cap. But do I expect closure? I need to reevaluate this.
Right. An expectation is a part of entitlement. Do you really need closure from someone who's making it very clear that they don't want to be with you anymore?
I think yes, because some people need closure because they cannot move on. They can't let it go.
No, that has to do, again, my perspective, in my opinion, that has to do with insecurity and a lack of confidence in self, which might be redundant, but those are two important elements for your self-esteem. So if you don't have either, then, you know, of course you would need closure because you're defining yourself and your value based upon your relationship with this person. But if you are a person outside of this entity of a relationship, then if they don't want to be with you, there's really no point in trying to convince them because they already made up their mind, especially if you're a guy and she dumps you, because she dumped you weeks before, typically. So the whole aspect of you trying to, save their relationship is really a waste of time. Just go get a nice little rebound. Rebound it like Dennis Rodman, you'd be all right.
Okay, but my question is, we keep saying like open the door. When I think of closure, I'm thinking like, oh, we broke up. It's months later, and now we can have this conversation. Like once the feelings have dissipated. Like I look at that as closure. That's
a waste of time.
Is it? Not if you. It's kind of like I feel like all relationships need closure. Like my friendships actually is better with closure because I feel like closure helps you cut things off.
The closure was them breaking up with you. That's the closure.
That's a perspective. But sometimes we got things that we need to get off our chest. Like things that should have been spoken was unspoken.
Yeah, definitely a waste of time. But if you need to do that, then perhaps do that quicker. Don't wait until months later. Just do a final contact, and that's it.
See, I like to talk to people when I don't have any more feelings about it. Like, so I do the self shadow work, and then I'm like, all right, I'm ready to talk to you.
Yeah, but at that point, there is a pointless conversation. Because let's be honest, the whole point of closure is to figure out if you're going to rekindle or not.
That's what you think closure is?
Of course.
See, I don't look at closure like that.
That's how people look at closure.
I look at closure like, dang, I need to sum up. I need to wrap this, make a conclusion, and just understand what went wrong, and just be like, thanks, peace out, bro. Like, thanks for, this, that, what did I do wrong? That's how I look at it. I don't look at closure as like, oh, we're going to figure out if we're going to continue this. Like, bro, we stop. If it's over, it's over. We can have a conversation about things. We can evaluate. I look at it as an evaluation, not like an evaluation to continuation. So maybe that's where the disconnect comes in.
No, I definitely hear that. I would just say that for me, it typically any type of lingering closure means that, oh yeah, are we gonna rekindle? Or are we gonna transition to friends with benefits?
Is that manipulative for me to wait that long? Is that my toxicity biting coming out?
I mean, that's typically a modern woman's tactic where they wait until they're like completely over you for sure, just so there's not any possibility that you would rekindle. You see what I mean? So this is why I look at it as the window to rekindle. So when people break up, they have that window, whether it's weeks or months, maybe even a year, that if they rekindled, it'll be on and popping like how it was before. But eventually, they'll break up again because of the same reasons why they broke up in the first place. Which is why, if you need closure, I feel like it should only be based upon needing closure to understand that relationship long term is over, but you're open to it being open short term. Friends with benefits, which is different.
Nah, you can't be friends with benefits with somebody after you break up with them.
Maybe the ladies cannot, but the men can certainly compartmentalize.
I don't agree with that because men be emotional, especially if he knows that you out here with somebody else. That's how people get stabbed.
Okay, sure. Let's say the toxic males.
Yeah.
But if it's a guy who is like, all right, whatever, then
I think you're speaking to the 1%ers.
Or let's say the top 20% of guys.
Because most people are not handling knowing that they women out there hanging.
But again, it's not your woman anymore.
But it don't matter because I feel like people can't differentiate between their ex and their now if you continue the relationship. I never went back with, I don't do that breakup, makeup stuff. Like, when I'm broken up, I'm broken up. I don't, because I've already decided, nah, it's done. That makeup to breakup stuff, I don't really know about that life because I never lived that life. I don't know.
I live both lives.
I don't know the ins and outs of that.
And yeah, the makeup, but makeup short term because it's never going to be the same relationship. That relationship that you had before is dead. It's done. So going forward, it's either going to be a brand new relationship, which most people fail at because they bring up old shit. But if you just want to be, friends with benefits until you find someone new, again, that's different. And then you have open conversations like that. And then sometimes people like that can be long-term friends.
Nah, that's cap.
I mean, it's not cap, but
I think it's cap. I think that is that's like once in. I mean, I could see. I mean, okay, I could kind of see where you're going with this, but that would have to be if it was like a relationship from when you were kids and you've known each other forever.
No, again, the same way that you said that you would be over that person, so you can only have the capacity, if any at all, is to be friends. But the same way that most guys are, if you can have the casual with an ex and then it have no strings attached.
It's never no strings attached. You might not have strings attached, but the other person got strings attached. Like, it's the same with women. So it's like, for me, it's like, it sounds good in theory, but in reality, you may not have the feelings, but the other person has the feelings.
Which is why I said at the moment of breaking up, that is your closure.
Yeah.
Right. But afterwards, no. But afterwards, and this is no cap, typically if you're a person and you're single in the dating scene and your ex hits you up, sometimes you'll take that bait short term.
Yes, because you think so people will take that bait. Most people are gonna take that bait. It's because number one, you're lonely, and number two, it's a short thing. And number three, you think it might rekindle something.
No, I would say, again, I'm not going to say no. I would say I get that. But mostly, and this is, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but typically the likelihood for someone to engage in, let's say, quick coitus, right? In terms of being short term and only physical, you're more likely to do that with a previous lover. And
it depends on the person.
You don't have that barrier. Typically, I'm just saying. Typically, you don't have that barrier. Nice little friends with benefits event, and then go back to the regular life. And this is how this toxicity it is created, because if you allow yourself to go back into the emotions, then it can get messy. But if you both compartmentalize that, then it's just,
I
hanging and banging.
I feel like one person is going to compartmentalize that at a time. So it might be the man, it might be the woman. And that's how people's feelings get hurt. So just have your closure and move on. Or don't have closure, just ghost the person and be out. I don't know.
All right, the next short is the best way to heal after a breakup.
Closure.
Some suggestions of how to best heal after a significant heartbreak. Kitty, what you think?
You have to gain awareness of self, and you have to also gain a new perspective. We have to separate on cognitive level before we separate physically or emotionally.
Right.
The how, the what, the when. How did this affect me? What happened? When it happened? And you also have to measure a lot of things. Your life satisfaction. When I was in a relationship, was I reaching my goals?
Right.
My life satisfaction was not there.
Absolutely.
And I have to use my logical reasoning. If I take my heart away from it and I think about it, what I wanted, what I deserved, and what I dreamed of, did I get it? Because a lot of times we try to push people in this image and this picture that they don't fit in. And then when I look at the facts and everything else and I pay attention to the things that I have lost, the things that I lost, the things that I could have gained, logically there was no benefit in this relationship. And once you gain that new perspective and you actually see who you were and who you want to be, it's easier to move on.
Any thoughts, Clo?
I think that was a pretty solid answer. Easier said than done, right? I think that she rounded it about, cost benefit analysis. Was the return what you expected? For all the amount that you put into that relationship, was the return on investment what you aspired to have? I think that partnerships are about return on our investment, right? Like you want to put into a relationship or anything that you do and receive at least equal. And most of the time we want to profit on our returns, right? So if you're investing into a relationship and you're receiving a deficit, you in debt now, and as you can see, I'm speaking in logical terms, right? Because just like she said, you got to take your heart out of it and think of it in a logical way to get over the breakup. I feel like emotions cloud judgment and breakups, especially a heartbreak, has a lot of emotional impacts on our bodies, right? Like you can really die from a broken heart. It's a fact. And so
if the physical heart is broken, Clo.
No, meaning emotions have an impact on your physical body.
Sure, but to die from a broken heart is a euphemism.
No, it's an actual real thing too. We can Google it. I'll put the link below. But that's a real thing. People die from heartbreak because they're so sad. Depression is your mental state and it affects your physical being as well.
I understand what you're saying, but like an actual broken heart, that's just an expression.
I think that I've read somewhere, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere over the years that you can actually die physically from a broken heart. Like blood vessels can pop and cause you to have like a heart attack or something because you're sad and so stressed.
Typically, when people say they have a broken heart, typically that's talking about like things like losing the will to live. And that ends people's life prematurely. Yes, I certainly agree with that.
Well, semantics. Long story short, you got to take your emotions out of it because your emotions got you there in the first place. Secondly, you need to think about, was this relationship worth it? Like, did it make you a better person? Because you really, frankly, should not be doing anything that does not make you a better person. Like, if you're waking up every day and you're dreading your situation, you need to run. And you don't need to stay there because, I've invested so much time and money. Run. Because you're only going to invest more time and more money. And then there gets to a point, it's kind of like if you watch a series on Netflix and it starts out really bad. And you're like, I'll just give it a chance. And now you're 5 hours deep and you're like, this series sucks. Some people have the compulsion to continue the series, even though they know it's trash. A lot of people do this with their relationships. Like relationships have an expiration date sometimes. And when that expiration date has come, you might as well just cut your losses early and just be out.
And I would just have to add on to that, to the lady speaking and to Clo. That's a very masculine approach to relationships. Very logical, very methodical, very purposeful. And I think because of that, of what you said, there might be some ladies who will end up single. Because you were literally speaking to guys. That's the way that guys communicate. So what she was saying, you're more logical than I would say than most women. Sorry, ladies, she's special that way. You're more logical than most ladies out there, especially when it comes to not capping about relationships. So who this lady was talking to is either talking to logical ladies, but mostly guys. That's how guys would approach a breakup and a chance and opportunity and space to self-improve. But typically, I would say modern women don't really, look to self-improve after relationships. I would say some do, because you'll have that post-breakup impetus to like go to the gym or meet new people or travel or whatever anything like that, right? But for the most part, typically men are the ones looking to self-improve, and women are the ones feeling like, oh, I'm fine the way I am. I can just, find someone else.
Really?
Definitely.
See, I feel like maybe it's the women that I've just noticed growing up, or just in situations, like most time women that I've noticed, that's when they tap into their masculine energy, if they ever had to, is to get through emotional stuff like trauma. And that's what causes, like to your point, to keep women single, because some people just tap into it for a second to get them through it as like a catalyst to bring them to the next level. But some people, they tap into that energy and they stay there. And that's where they go wrong.
And that's basically my point. It's
trauma bonding, like living in the trauma.
Not just living in the trauma, more like coping with it in a way that's not suitable for them. Read it, Clo.
It says, a look at broken heart syndrome. Yes, in fact, you can die of a broken heart, but it's also extremely unlikely. It's called broken heart syndrome, and it can happen when an extremely emotional or traumatic event triggers a surge of stress of hormones. These hormones can put you in short-term heart failure, which can be life-threatening. So yeah, you can die from broken heart.
Exception to the rule.
I didn't say everybody could die from broken heart. I was just saying it's possible.
Right. And it's also possible to survive a jump out of a 10-story building. But we do not endorse that type of thinking here, because statistically, you probably will either die or be horribly mangled, and you probably won't be able to walk again or breathe without assistance. So it doesn't really make sense to do.
All I'm going to say is people go through traumatic experiences, and sometimes heartbreak can feel like that in a moment. And if you don't have the right support systems in place, and if you are thinking emotionally and not logically, it can really put you in a deep, dark hole and can really mess you up. So my thing is, the best way to get over a breakup is to get a therapist. That's probably the best thing to do. I mean, a lot of us can't afford therapists. And what she was saying was probably some self-help tips that she read about. But I think the best way to get over heartbreak or breakup is self-help. Read some self-help books if you can't afford a therapist, okay?
Self-development,
yes. Improve yourself, improve your life, improve your well-being, and analyze the situation for what it was. Don't, fantasize and romanticize the situation you were in, which is what people do. And then you look back, once you break up with the person, you look back and you be like, what the heck was I thinking? Like, I had to be on drugs or something. Like, that was not even me. Like, why was I even dealing with that? But some people don't ask that question. Some people be like, oh, it's all their fault. They the ones. No, you're the one. Look yourself in the mirror and fix it. That's all I could say.
And for the guys specifically, I agree with that. And definitely read some amazing books like The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi or The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. Some great self-development books that would actually give you some perspective on life and for you to view life logically, because oftentimes as guys, if you break up with someone or someone breaks up with you, more accurately, then at the moment, at that very temporary moment, you feel like you can't get anyone better. Oh my gosh, who's gonna take me now?
Some people can't though.
But that is just a temporary reaction. That's an emotional reaction to your circumstance. In reality, they've done you a favor, because then you get to go work on yourself and develop yourself at a higher level. So the next person is getting you at a higher level, and you also have that experience as understanding. So always work on yourself in and out of relationships, but especially to heal a breakup. Go to the gym, go hang out with more guys, have some bro conversations, because typically you might have lost perspective when you're in a relationship and you might not be in touch with your masculine.
But also sometimes if you don't do this is the anti thing, right? If you don't do the self-improvement, maybe that last person was the best person for you and you lost it. Like, that is definitely an option. Like, if you break up with somebody and you choose to remain the same person you were, you're never going to get anybody better than them. You're just done. You're done up. And then you're going to live with the regret that you could have potentially messed up that relationship. And now the other person done moved on and living a happy married life. And you still the same spot you were. So do yourself a favor. Go read a book. Go see a therapist. And go to the gym.
Only 2 more guys. This next one's gonna be pretty spicy. I'm just gonna let it rock.
Oh, it's spicy? What we got?
Accountable.
Do it, friend.
I'm gonna be accountable. My first baby daddy wasn't the best. I was disrespected. I was this, right? Hypothetical, right? Ex-husband. This is hypothetical. So, baby daddy, whatever. So, he wasn't the best. I had a baby by an alpha. But then I met a man, and he respected me. He treated me well. He raised my kids. We became a partnership. We built something strong. The world sees him as a beta.
Yep.
So when we are accountable and we say, this is the bad decision that I made, but I will no longer make that decision.
Then they still make fun of you.
Then they still make fun of you. Then they still say you're whatever.
They still say, oh, but she was a hoe back in the day.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Any artists. Yeah, you just did it, so say it's true.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Mr. Lego.
What did we just watch?
A whole lot of if, buts, and maybes when it comes to babies.
First of all, be accountable for your actions. If you choose to keep the baby and you're not married, or you choose to keep, if you choose to keep the baby, you're not married, don't be mad when somebody calls you a baby mother. Especially
if the guy tells you has no intention of sticking around, has no desire to become a father. You have the ability for an abortion. Now, again, if that's something you don't believe in, we respect that. However, if you don't want an abortion, there's no reason to allow him to shoot the club up. And let's be honest, ladies, when it comes to casual relations of coitus, ladies, you have the power. You have all the bargaining chips. However, in relationships, men have all the bargaining chips. So if you're going to have something casual and short term that can possibly lead to an infant, of course, that's both of your responsibilities, but you have the ultimate, sanction. You have veto power. You have ultimate veto power. Because if not, that's a different situation that involves the police, right? So if you are making that decision to allow someone to metaphorically shoot the club up, for me personally, I'm only looking at that person as, culpable.
All I'm gonna say is, don't be mad that somebody judging you off of don't be mad when someone judges you off of decisions that you made that are permanent.
Like tattoos.
Tattoos is permanent. Babies are permanent. I mean, tattoos that you can get them removed, but most people are not.
Marriages, you can get them removed, but not really.
You said marriages?
Yeah.
Well, no, because you're gonna have a divorce in your record.
Right.
But a baby.
But even that's what I'm saying. Like even with a tattoo, you can get it removed, but you're still gonna have that outline,
Like
there.
something there. But things that are permanent, that you made decisions in the moment that seemed like a good idea, you just gotta be like, hey, I'm gonna look at myself 10 years down the line. If this doesn't work out in my favor, I can't be mad at anybody else because I knew the repercussions that this could potentially bring. So it's like there are certain things you could do to make sure that, you know, you have less of a chance of having certain outcomes. But to be mad at somebody for judging you off of a decision that you knew the outcomes, to me is silly. Like the girl said, then they gonna call you a hoe. But you were a hoe. Like, what are they supposed to not call you a hoe if you was hoeing? Like if you was hoeing, like if you were doing that and being promiscuous, and then you're 50 years old and people still calling you the names, fill in the blank, how could you be mad at them when that's the image you portray to yourself? Like,
or that's the lifestyle you lived.
And that's the lifestyle you was living. Like,
and chosen.
And chose to live. Like, nobody forced you into that life.
And again, at that time, ladies, because typically single mothers typically become mothers either in their teens or in their early 20s when they are at their most powerful. That's when you're at the highest of your dating marketplace value, let's say, is in that age range. So you have all the negotiating power, as I was saying before. So if you decide to keep the child, because that is your choice, as it should be, right? You decide to keep the child, well, it was your decision to make someone who told you verbally to your face, yeah, I'm not gonna stick around.
Some people don't even say that though, Josh. Like, let's be real. Like, some people will sell you a dream. Like, oh, I'm gonna be there for the father. I'm gonna be a great father. I'm gonna do this. But that's just word service. Like, you know the man you laying down with.
I mean,
you know the man that fathers your child. Like, I don't want to hear that. People, and if you don't know the man who fathers your child, you shouldn't be getting pregnant by him.
I mean, that's fair, but I would also say that would be an exception to the rule argument.
I wouldn't think that's an exception, because honestly, like, maybe situation that you've seen, maybe that's your perspective, not to cut you off, but like women that I know who've gotten pregnant and stuff and decided to keep it, they were sold a dream. And women, we are emotional creatures, so if we love somebody, we're gonna believe them. I get that part.
Sure, and it goes back to your original point on the one of the first videos we saw that had to do with selfishness, right? So both the male selfishness and the female selfishness, right? But at the same time, sometimes ladies will make the executive decision.
Yes,
because it is their decision to make. Like, hey, I want a baby by this fella right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna trap him, and he's stupid enough to fall for it. So let's go. You know, that's, some women have that. But what I'm saying is, ladies,
and not even with the trap card, right? It's even like, oh, this is going to help him become a better man. We've all heard that reason before, have we? This is going to cause him to man up and step up, even though he told you, either with his actions and or his words, that was never going to be the case.
But women don't look at actions. That's one of our faults. Women, we need to start looking more at actions. Words sound good, and women we love hearing what we want to hear.
Which is why you're the major consumer in all music.
Also, my thing is, I don't have a problem with you. Like, women can do what they want to do. If you want to have a kid out of wedlock, go for it, right? Do what you want to do. But don't sit here and be like, mad that somebody calling your man a beta, because that's what I heard her say. She was upset that people were bringing up her past. Like, we're supposed to forget about it. Like, yeah, men are going to call your man a beta. What does it matter? Like, why are you so butthurt about that? Like, you're the one who chose to have a kid. You're the one who chose this man who will father somebody else's kid. So live in that and own it. Like, why are you mad people got an opinion about it?
By the way, if he wasn't a beta, she wouldn't be offended.
That's deep.
Because I know plenty of alphas who have who have become stepfathers and own that shit.
She was like, my man said he's an alpha, but everybody call him a beta. If everyone's calling your man a beta, is he really an alpha? Is he?
That's what I'm saying. So in my own anecdotal experience, the alphas who have become single fathers, everyone still recognizes them as the alphas even after they've done that.
What about stepfathers?
That's what I'm saying. So it does depend on the guy. So if he makes that decision and he has that level of influence and clout and gravitas, if you will, he can pull that off.
Yes. It takes a special man to do that. Now, my whole thing is just don't be mad. Like, why are people so concerned about everybody else's thoughts? Like, oh, why is my man this and why is he? Girl, people are calling you this because you did this. Like, you can't say that you didn't do it and then be mad somebody calling you that. Like, own it. Like, if you're going to do something, you need to own that proudly, especially if it's something that's that intense. If you're bold enough to be out here in these streets and flaunt it at some point in your life, and then all of a sudden you want to be, all conservative and stuff, you need to still own that part of your life and say, hey, this was me. I did that. That is actually still a part of me, but I've changed this. Like, this is where I am now. I've evolved. But don't act like somebody's just going to take some white out and just like, they going to see that white out on the paper, girl. It's just like, it just perplexes me. Like, that people can make decisions and think there's no consequences for your actions. Like, the woman who waited to be, married to have sex, lose her virginity. Do you think she running around here, like, happy that she only had one person? Maybe she is. But she not going to be like, oh, y'all are mad at me because I'm a virgin. Like, no, she chose that life. So her actions have results.
Positive results, typically.
Yes.
Unless she's as delusional as modern women, then yeah.
I'm just saying this whole modern women thing, like, yeah, I feel like there's no such thing as not a modern woman in 2022. I think it's just levels to this stuff. Because unless you were in a box and did not watch Disney and did not watch any propaganda that was given to you, which is
Nickelodeon, MTV.
Which is impossible. Everybody has a level of modern women in them. And it's just, we speak in these terms of extremes on these platforms. And it's like, oh, you're either this or you're not. And it's like, no, because men are not even traditional men either. Because we're all hybrids because of our environment. It's not like we were raised in a country that was very strict and had these specific values that were rooted in religion and that are not only rooted in religion, but it's the status quo. Like, you go to other countries, there are rules. And if you don't abide by those rules, off with your neck. You're socially shunned. You're banned. You cannot be a part of the group anymore.
Which is what people are saying is missing from our culture, which, let's say 50 to 60 years ago was prevalent.
Yes, it was very prevalent. However, like we always say, there's ebbs and flows. And right now we're just in the period of non-tradition. And I have a feeling that traditional values will make a comeback. But at the same time, just because people are telling you that traditional values don't matter, don't mean you can bust it wide open and expect the same results as somebody who didn't.
Correct.
That's all I'm saying.
Because let's be honest. The guys know, number one.
Yep.
Number two, even if you persuade a gentleman to shoot the club up, but he doesn't stick around, or you persuade a beta to shoot the club up, and then he sticks around, I mean, you're still not going to respect that beta compared to the alpha, and you have the alpha comparison.
So he'll never be good enough in your eyes. Right.
And in the manosphere, they call that a alpha widow, where you only have an alpha that you like idolize, if you will, both mind, body, and spirit, and then you have a beta to provide for your materialistic needs. And typically that's what happened on let's say Jerry Springer, where you would have was
It's a
it
throwback.
or Maury, right? Where you are not the father.
I think people who do that, I don't understand that. I'm not even gonna speak on that. Where's the button where it say you are so dumb? You are really dumb.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Seriously. I don't know. That's cray-cray. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we out here, do what you want to do. But just know your actions have a reaction. There is a cause and there is
your actions have repercussions.
Repercussions. Cause and effect.
There is causality in life.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say whatever you want. If a man is broke, his causality would be not a lot of options for ladies. Right? And even if he's, very attractive, let's say, that would only put in a certain let's say certain level of woman. Because if he had bread, then it would be higher. So when you have both, let's say, like physical attraction, but also social and, long-term attraction, then that puts you in that top 20%.
All right, y'all. We have one more left. Ready, Maestro?
If I was a man, I would only date single mothers or people or mothers, period. Because
I'm gonna stop you there.
Let me get the explanation to that. I feel like motherhood changed me so much, and although I'm married, I'm not single. It's not because my mental isn't married. You know what I'm saying? My mental is my mental. Yeah. So when I tell you, a lot of stuff about me changed. I value myself more. I value my time more. I don't really give my time and my energy to shit that don't matter, don't equate to nothing. Mm-hmm. So if I was a man, especially if I was a man that was older in age a little bit, like Pawpaw, I would literally be like, you know what? I want a single woman because a single mom, they know how to get it done. Mm-hmm. They really be like the grade A people for real. It'd be a single women, them not us, because I got.
But you got to be careful.
But when I was devil's advocate with that,
you do have to be.
Oh my days. This is what we doing now? Really, Clo?
She advertising. She put a plug in for all the single mothers out there. Now.
Let me just say, in general, when people say things about single mothers, it's more about speaking about things in general. So to have the best outcome for your child, the best environment is a stable married home. Mm-hmm. That's in general the best percentage, and the statistics bear that out. So if you have the choice, and typically because women are in charge of the birthing process in America, regardless of not a Roe versus Wade, she still has the decision to become a mother. The man does not have any power whatsoever, any decision making in the ability to become a father or not.
Except for having sex.
Now, yes, in terms of shooting the club up, yes.
Or even just having sex. Like, what if people have sex with, if you having sex with a person who is not, you wouldn't even want to walk outside with, and you get her pregnant, that's on you, bro. That's not on her. That's on you. You should have control over your sperm and your penis.
That's facts. But I would say typically, if you're using someone typically only for recreational use, typically even with contraception, you're still gonna pull out.
It doesn't matter if you pull out. There's this thing called scientific studies show that you can still get a woman pregnant with pre-cum.
No, I'm saying with the contraception, so that means with the condom.
Even with the condom, condoms are 99.9% effective. So there's always a chance. Anytime that you decide to participate in coitus, just know there is a chance, even if it's a 0.1%, that you can get that woman pregnant. And that is something that we need to instill in our boys. Like, is this really somebody that you would really want to have a baby with? Just because you wanted a couple minutes to an hour of pleasure, and now you got to deal with that person for the rest of your life? Like, that is a message that needs to be instilled in our young men. Because you should value yourself. You should value your sperm. You should value your legacy. And you should value your body parts.
By the way, that message is already instilled in young men.
I disagree. Because I seen older men and they baby mothers looking crazy. And they got to deal with that for the rest of their life.
Which is why it's instilled in young men.
We need to champion. I'm gonna always tell our son that, like, listen, if you looking at her and you just trying to have fun, go upstairs and get some lotion or something. Like, it's not worth it. It's just not. And it's called DICK discipline. That's what it's called. So I will not take any onus off of, because it's like you can't make a baby without the sperm. You just can't. It's impossible.
Okay.
So if you are the controller of the sperm, don't just be putting it out there. And don't say, oh, we could use a condom. If y'all know for a fact that the woman has the power after that sperm leaves your body, the ball is now in her court. You know what I'm saying? The game is tied 100 to 100. And she got 5 timeouts left. She know the coach. She know the ref. She owns the gym. She owns the television station.
Now, again,
she got all of these
Chloe, to your point, I don't disagree. But let's say the quality of man who is susceptible to that is either a man who is sans bitches, he doesn't get any girls, or
get your money up,
or he's such a provider that it don't even matter. So it goes back to my billionaire example.
It don't matter who he knocking up.
I'm not, like I said before.
And then
I'm not saying that I condone that, but I'm just saying that affords you that flexibility. That's just the reality.
You know.
And again, the ladies are signing up for that. They're like, oh, me too. How many baby mothers does Future have?
Because women want kids. And it's selfish. But women want children, especially when she's dealing with like a 34-year-old or 35-year-old.
They want kids and
money in that check.
Thank you.
Yeah, true.
That is your point. The viewing kids as an asset.
They are assets. Kids are assets.
For single mothers.
For people. But especially single mothers.
Specifically single mothers, yes.
Well, what I'm saying is, because you were saying that women have 100% we do have 100% of the control once the sperm leaves the body. So men keep the sperm out of the body. Like, don't even put your thing in there. Just don't. If she's a woman, because it's crazy, because I see these men and I'm like, yo, you're a king. And then it's like, you look at his baby mother and you like, dad, you really not a king, because look at what you... Like, I'm going to judge you off of your baby mother.
Nah, me personally, I'm not personally. Because, again, if you are a citizen of Westeros, if you will, if you are aware of the Game of Thrones, you're aware that kings in general, let's say in the legacy process, frequently have bastards. That's just a reality.
We talking about kings. We talking about regular people. We're not talking about some fantasy.
But this is real life. No. You said kings. Some kings out there.
No, I'm not talking about an actual king. I'm talking about a man who's 6'5", who got clear skin. He got nice curly hair. He fine as hell. And then you look at his baby mother, and she looks like a turtle.
And again, that's my point. You have that luxury as if you're the king and you can afford that, then you can afford that. If you look
that good, why would you even spend your money? I don't know. Maybe because women, we have so much access to men. It's like, bro, I wouldn't even give you the
Chloe, come on.
Ew.
Chloe. I'm
not the only woman who feels this way.
And again, that's fair, but you act like you're unaware of who men are. Men sometimes just need to fire off some rounds. The same way that okay, if you're traveling on the road, right? You have a road trip. If you had a choice between and I'm gonna borrow from Tom Likas here. Shout out to Tom Likas. If you have the choice of going to the gas station bathroom or the Four Seasons, you would prefer to go to the Four Seasons. Everyone would, both men and women alike. We would. Oh my gosh! Look at you got the warm towels. Yeah. Why not? That would be fantastic.
You better go outside.
However,
just go outside.
However, Chloe. But that's the point. If you have to go either outside or to the gas station bathroom just for number one,
nope.
You just gonna go.
Yeah.
But again,
but what if that number one was attached?
But men don't make those decisions like women. You see that, right?
It needs to be foresight, and you need to be valuing your body. Like if you're saying that, like you would have to attach another caveat to that example. You would have to say, so if you go into this gas station bathroom, you may get arrested and locked up for 18 years. That's the caveat in that example.
Again, not for me, because again, if you're in that 20%, right, then that means you're aware of female nature.
Listen.
So again, how many black men are 30 plus without children?
A lot of them. And a lot of them
so
go
again,
unnoticed.
It is not by accident.
They go unnoticed.
That's
the crazy part.
That's from diligence and luck.
Luck.
But also diligence.
The way you talking, that's definitely luck.
It's a combination of diligence and luck. Because using just like Jurassic Park, life will find a way. Life will certainly find a way. So an element is luck. It's always going to be luck and chance in terms of statistics. But some statistics are better favored than others.
And the best favor is if you see a woman and she look crazy, don't you even go there. Just go to the bathroom and use a towel or something.
No, you know what? I'm a follow Big Mike on this one.
I need the same time before sex, and then I need separately from sex. Sex without head is like a sandwich with no bread.
So perhaps you just get the top and nothing else. I think that's a great idea, Chloe.
Okay,
and Big Mike.
That's fair.
There you go.
That's fair. But just don't, you can't get pregnant from that.
Unless she consumes but doesn't consume, and then turkey baster.
That's just so much. That's just too much work. If she do that, then you deserve to have a kid.
No. But again, if you're a certain wait, because we're gonna take it to your favorite artist. Because if you're a certain type of guy like Drizzy, then you might have to put hot sauce in the condom, right?
Listen.
Because they will go the extra mile. They would certainly do all that extra shit for a dude who is a millionaire. Come on now. Multi
Yeah, but that's
millionaire.
very, very few people. We know that. Well, what was the topic? I feel like we got on a tangent. Or I got on a tangent.
Is it true about dating single mothers? And she was saying that you should actually be seeking single mothers.
If you're a single father, yes.
I agree with that, yes.
Yes, you should. If you're a single father, you should definitely be looking.
Brady bunch it up.
Yes, you should be looking for a woman who already has proven that she is worthy of a mother. Like if she's a good mother, you need to find and seek her out because you need somebody who is worthy of taking care of your children. And she has already exhibited that and she has already proven that to you by how her child is being raised. So I agree. You should, I think what she's saying applies to fathers who have kids and who are single.
Yes, sir.
If you're not single, if you are single and you don't have any children,
please refer to our previous podcast about the red flags from Kevin Samuels. Rest in power.
First of all, it's like you raising somebody's kid and you even have fun making it. That kind of sucks. And you gotta pay for it. You have to pay for the child. You have to pay for the mom. You have to pay for the bills. and then you make your own child. Some men do it. Some men do it. And if you are a man who does that, bravo to you, because that means that you found a woman who's compatible in all other ways.
Again, I'm going to go on not just the hypothetical, but the actual. The actual is that I would say most people in 2022 do not use contraception.
You think so? I think women use it. Women are like on that stuff.
Again, Chloe, because we're talking about the top 20% of men. So
are we?
Yes. In terms of the situations that they're talking about, typically it's the top 20% of men who are impregnating these women, right? 20% of the men are dating 80% of the women.
I wouldn't say top 20. I would just say 20% who are loose with their sperm, who don't care.
Oh no. But again, Chloe, who decided to open those legs?
Because they want a baby.
And again, it's not just because they want a baby. They want a baby by a certain someone. That is the difference. They want a baby from a certain someone. So if you're a 3 and the guy who just wanted something casual with you is a 8, 9, or 10,
poking holes in that.
Not even poking holes. Again,
you don't even have to poke a hole nowadays.
No. Men are opportunists when it comes to casual. So if you're gonna allow him to go raw diggity, some men may not have the discipline that you talked about.
Yes.
To take on that advantage,
You're
right?
giving these women game right now.
And I'm also giving men game as well.
Because he don't care. If he not disciplined, he do not care. He like, all right, whatever.
But that's my point. If you have
I pulled out. He gonna be like, I pulled out.
No. But that's the point of the discipline. If you have enough income where your discipline is irrelevant, you can just like go back to the first one. You have 10 plus.
Nah, your kids is gonna be all screwed up.
But again, you're not thinking about that at that time.
They not thinking they
However, who is the mother choosing that lifestyle for them? Because ultimately that's her choice. Who is that mother choosing that lifestyle for them?
She wants a baby and she feels like, just like a man who feels like he can go out here and make 10 babies and not care, she feels like, I don't need a man to raise my kid. And it's both stupid. They both wrong. Both of those people are wrong in that situation. They are dead wrong. Where's the button?
Dead wrong.
You are so dumb.
Yes, sir.
You are so dumb.
You are so dumb.
Yes.
You are really dumb. For real.
Because you about to be losing, your son or your daughter about to be losing, and he's about to be losing. It's just a lose-lose situation. And you just want a baby because you feel like you needed a baby. Because you don't have anybody else. And then that baby becomes your son husband. It's a really sad cycle. And the thing about it is, like, if you made this mistake, most people don't even think it's a mistake. They blame everybody else but themselves. But own up to it and realizing just don't do it again. Like, people make mistakes. We are not humans are here to make errors. Like, we make errors. Some errors are long time errors, and that's okay. But don't make excuses for it. Blame yourself. And love your kid and try to get them the best opportunity they have by being the type of woman that a man who doesn't have a kid maybe will go out his way to be with.
Or specifically search after men with children.
Yeah, and don't be entitled. Like, don't be entitled. Like, I'm with you. You with me because I'm this and I'm that. No, humble yourself and know your role, know your place, and you'll have better outcomes.
Because I will say some ladies who are single mothers believe that they are still the prize, and that is not necessarily true for the men that they are attracted to.
Only because they have a baby attached to them and a baby father attached to them.
I mean, that's not the only. That is the reason.
Well, that is the reason, because you could be an outstanding person. I know a lot of single mothers who are outstanding.
True.
And who have found other people, who have found men to step in place and be fathers for their children. But that's because they are outstanding women and they real with themselves. And they know that you know, this is such a blessing for this man to come in and take care of my family.
Again, I'm not sure if it's that. I think that's how some ladies may interpret that, but typically it's probably because the gentleman also shot the club up and doesn't want to make another single mother again. So they will get married out of to let's say to save face or out of obligation, which I think is different.
But then also there are some men who had fathers, stepfathers growing up, and they want to assume that role. Like,
Sure.
I feel like there's so many different ins and outs, and it doesn't matter why, right? The why doesn't really matter. It's the fact that he stepped up and she was the woman that he needed. She was the woman, she presented the qualities that he was looking for enough for him to take responsibility for her child. And that's what's important.
I mean, that could also come from a lack of experience and knowledge as well.
Doesn't matter where it comes from.
It certainly does.
If you have a healthy, happy relationship with the person, oh well.
Oh no. Nah,
oh well.
Nah. If you're unaware of your value, come over to Poetic Charm. We'll take good care of you over there. If you're not aware of your value, come over to Poetic Charm.
Cool.
We'll show you
can
your
have
value.
but every man, maybe the person they want to be with, that's the person that they want to be with.
Right, but that comes from the perspective that they can't do any better.
That's one perspective.
That's the perspective for most men. Because remember, if 20% of the men are dating 80% of the women, that means 80% of men aren't getting any chicks. So they'll take whatever they can get. That can be someone Lizzo size, even though they're not attracted to someone like that. That can mean single mothers, even though if they had the preference, they would not prefer that, especially if they don't have children, which is why I agreed with you when you said single fathers should also date single mothers. I agree with that completely because I think that would solve a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm going to just say this. Just know what's the situation you're getting into. Don't get bamboozled. That's all this boils down to. Like the why can be different for different people, but just know what you're getting yourself into. And if you can accept that, more power to you, because there's a lot of people who step up and they don't have to. And if they had this mentality like, oh, well, I'm worth this and I'm worth that, cool. Some people have that, but there's going to be worker bees and there's going to be the queen bee. Like there's a role to play. Everybody has their role to play, but what's going to be your role?
And I think your role is based upon what role you accept based upon your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that applies to men more than women, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about that. I think it depends on when.
I think it depends because I feel like you have more single mothers than single fathers.
Because they making the babies with the same men. That's the reason why.
Right.